For lesson 4.7, we're going to look at the words who, whom, whose, and whose. First of all, notice that the words whose and whose are pronounced exactly the same. But whose with an apostrophe means who is. Whose with an apostrophe is a contraction or a bringing together of two words. Who is, whose. Let's take a look at 4.7. The explanation here is we use who to ask a question about the subject. Who? Who names hurricanes? We're asking about the subject. If I say, John names hurricanes, the subject is John, and John is the one I'm asking about. So we use who to ask a question about the subject. Who names hurricanes? The WMO does. In this case, the WMO is the subject. We use who or whom. Let's circle or. We use who or whom to ask a question about the object. That's a key word. Remember, SVO. So we use who or whom to ask a question about the object. Remember, whom is used in very formal language. Let's look at the examples. Who do you live with? Or whom do you live with? I live with my parents. This is a question about the object because I is the subject, live is the verb, and parents is the object. Whom with? Parents. So when you have a question about the object, you can use who or whom. We use whose to ask about ownership or relationship. Whose name begins with X? So the name what? Belongs to someone. That's ownership. Whose name begins with X? Mine does. It's Xavier. Whose. Whose is a contraction of who is, a bringing together of the two words who is, whose. Who's that man? Or who is that man? That's my dad. Now this is the last lesson of this chapter. And usually in the last lesson of the chapter there seems to be more assignments, and there are more assignments. There's exercise 19, 20, and 21. After that, we have the review or summary. Let's look at each of these exercises. Exercise 19. Put my phone, it's a windy day. Let's put my phone on there. Exercise 19. Complete the conversation with who, whom, whose, or who is, or whose. Whose last name do you use? When you are not sure which whose to use, think of it this way. Remember, whose is a contraction for who is. So, ask yourself the question, would it make sense if I said, who is last name do you use? No, that wouldn't make sense. So WHO''S does not belong there. Let's look at exercise 20. Choose the correct word or words to complete the conversation. Who or whose name is the same as a hurricane? Whose. We would not say who name. Okay? And then the next one, the answer is mine is or my is. Well, it's possession. Okay, and it's about the object, so mine. Okay? Remember, we use whose when we're asking about the object. And in exercise 21, choose the correct word or words to complete the conversation. The teacher wants us to talk about names. My name is Lisa Sims Evans. Question: do you like your or you are name? Well, again, this is a contraction for you are. And we would not say, do you like you are name, right? So when you're not sure which one to put, make sure you say this as two words and then ask yourself, does that make sense? Okay? So that's exercises 19, 20, and 21. Good luck.